this one was in my wheelhouse. Loaded with Crowder. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny. Watch the wokest, most unhinged rant ever. Now, Jordan Peterson talks about this speech that was given by this lady, and this speech has now been like published, and he talks about it.
But I really am hoping that this debate is released soon, because one of the people on the other side who was rallying against meat delivered the most preposterously unsatirizable, politically correct rant that I'd ever seen anyone deliver anywhere by a factor of about 5. She just about made me convulse. And part of it was sympathy, you know, because it was so over the top. It was so utterly miraculous that anyone could, and 2 of her compatriots were sitting in the audience, and she said things like, every hamburger is served with a side order of misogyny, which is a really good line. You know, they crafted that line. It's a pretty good joke, but you know, she
misogyny?
Said, because she associated the oppression of women with the oppression of farm animals, which is like, it's a dangerous territory to wander into, that analogy. And she said that she compared the husbandry of animals to slavery, which is also like a place that you wander into with real care when you choose your metaphors. And she said the reason we're bombarded with images of sexy chickens and sexy cows is because we feminize our farm animals before devouring them.
Please. Are we bombarded with images of sexy chickens? Because
sexy chickens and pigs. It wasn't cows. Well, cows, you know how sexy they are, so that's forgivable.
Miss Piggy? Is Miss Piggy, she's our only one. Is that bombarded? Is this woman on a Miss Piggy rampage?
Sexy chickens is like,
what fucking sexy chickens are there?
Hey, man, you tell me. But I did feel...
that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's like, there's a bit of a porn question to it. It's like, sexy chickens. It's like, you know, it's like whatever float you bought, as the old saying goes, it's like that could be seen as something of a Freudian slip as to, ooh, that's a sexy chicken. Excuse me? It's like, in what company, what company must you keep, right? If you can say, sexy chicken, and your friends are going, yeah, I'd fuck it. I'd smash that chicken. It's like, where are you when that's what's normal? I play this and say I'm not so, again, active at the moment, but I play this because Peterson's really onto something about people like her. And I think he goes on to make the point, but that's this sexy chickens and sexy pigs and sexy cows. It's kind of a window into a strange old fucking world where who talks like this? Joe's right. This sounds a bit crazy. Yes, it does.
Oh, you wait. I'm praying they'll release it. This will go viral. This is like Kathy Newman on steroids. Like, I mean it. It was something, man. I was sweating. I was really. It was like being hit. And then there were 2 people who helped craft her speech, and they were sitting in the audience. And while she was on this unbelievable rant, it was just jaw-droppingly miraculous. And they kept yelling genocide. It's like they're sitting in the audience, and she'd make a point about meat and how appalling the human race was, especially the men, especially the white men, the oppressive, patriarchal, racist, white, supremacist. Meat is a white supremacist exercise, by the way.
Where was she from? Was she English?
Yes. Yes, she'd written a book on this, and that's why they invited her.
But they had, then I get the English accent with it too. I'm just trying to
well, and then her compatriots were randomly yelling, "Genocide!" It's like genocide. It's like what? Yes, we think that's bad. We think that's bad. We've already established that. But that was so. It was like theater of the absurd. It was so. It was one. It'll be if they release it, I think it'll be a cultural moment. Because it was the point, at least it was the point in my life, where the politically correct argument reached an apogee that cannot be exceeded.
Nah, you mix with the wrong people, Jordan. Let's listen to what she had to say.
I believe we should move beyond all meat. The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. How do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? 21st
Animals love me, that's why. Given choice, they'd happily line up to be my pepperami.
century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism. These events especially affect girls and young women. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny. Popular culture is flooded with references to sexy cows, sexy pigs, sexy chickens, sexy fishes, who all just want to have fun. Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Masculinity, a construct of the gender binary facing constant destabilization, feels always under threat, and eating animals is its protection racket. White supremacists weaponized it, eating meat, eggs, and dairy, and the baiting of...
When? Sorry. The mistake is to get dragged in, isn't it? I'm not going to do it.
liberal men as so-called soy boys are all part of the neo-Nazi messaging. To say you care about animals is considered a sign of weakness in a world still committed to the gender binary. Meat eaters, like anti-abortionists, have forgotten that one quality of non-existence is not having awareness about existence. When all else fails, meat eaters assert that animals are not our equal.
That's apparently, someone like me will say, oh, come on, animals. They don't even know they're alive. And I'll go to town and say, when was the last time you saw one get elected? Have you seen any signs of rebellion? Because you're in that land of the absurd. This is the land of Watership Down. You've arrived. I suggest when faced with these people, you arrive in the land of Watership Down before they do. And then defeat them at Watership Down. It's like, bring back whaling. Moby Dick was an arsehole.
I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is...
I've heard far more radical people than her, who'd be just as completely impossible to swear from their opinions, and they'd be crazy. And just focused on the one thing, and the one thing just be a black pill. It'd be a now what? Oh, you've convinced me. Now what? We must fight it. How? Speaking out. Oh, so you want me to go around talking like you? Yeah, that's how we're going to fight it. Spread it. It's that bad. It's like the internet's created this woman. Like it's created loads of other people who've got heads full of ideas. Myself included. But it's like, this is a dodgy patched, like 1970s fucking computer with like resistors everywhere and valves that someone's tried to install Windows fucking 98 on. And it's like, it kind of works. You think we can get a browser on it? Bing. A better network card. Shit, it's online.
Part of the problem of meat eating.
Let's get the last bit.
Whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating.
Right, whiteness. I've worked that out. Right, if you want to get over your whiteness, right, you have to believe someone like her and everything she says, and then you can be absolved of your whiteness, and then you start mouthing off like her, and you're proving yourself not white. As you go around mouthing off like that. Now, go back to Peterson, because Peterson makes a brilliant point about this woman. A brilliant point.
It was like, that is as absurd as it can possibly get in every possible way in 10 minutes. It was theater of the surreal. And everyone, well, the audience was full of vegans, and so they were on the side of the anti-meat people, and so they kind of gave her a pass, although a lot of people walked out during her whatever it was she was doing. But I did feel bad for her while I was convulsing, because I really did, because I thought, oh my God, you're so crazy. You're so utterly crazy. And there's no way that you can bring that set of presuppositions to bear in a real human relationship and have it go anything but terribly wrong. And so that means that you're completely isolated, and all your so-called friends are never offering you any corrective feedback whatsoever, right?
Yeah, that's your bridge to the world. That's the point. That's your bridge to the world. It's like you want to go and talk to people, you want to meet people, and what you talk about is that. Because that's what drives you. Oh, what have you been up to? Oh, I was debating against Jordan Peterson. So I've heard of him. And what did you say? Oh, I got to telling him how eating meat was white supremacist. Excuse me? That's your bridge to the world. You're that crackpot. Did you know the interesting things you've got to say in conversation be that? Driven by it. It's like, yeah, that's your bridge to the world. It's like anyone out in the world who might think, you see yourself as obviously a serious academic. I like to communicate with you, talk some of your ideas. You think that's going to happen? No, they would just validate her. They just say, you make some interesting points and let it go, not her feelings, and no one gets anywhere with her and her life and her academic journey, her ability to communicate with strangers, right, and come across as a reasonable person. Gone. It's like that is how you'd speak in public. That is what you'd project. It's like that question I like to ask, because it's a great question. That what company must you keep when you can just mouth off rubbish like that and not face objections and get validation to the tune where you think that you're a right and capable person to stand up in front of an audience and talk like that. You know, if someone says to me, if they said, John, you seem to think you know a thing or two, would you like to get up and talk to the Oxford Union? I'd be like, what makes me qualified to do that? I'd be sceptical of someone asking. I would. I'd be like, is this a pot on? But that person, oh, you've written a book about veganism being like white supremacist murder. Would you like to come and speak? Would you like to debate? Oh, yes, I'll be right there. What hubris it takes to go up in front of people in what is supposed to be a sort of high-level scholarly thing and mouth off like she did. It's like, let's listen to Jordan some more.
They're just feeding into this terrible ideological mess you've wandered into. And so it was painful at the same time, which is partly why I was sweating. But it was, it was something, man.
I think I discovered.
Yeah, that's book. It. That's it.
The pornography of meat.
Look. Yeah, well, there you got your dancing hamburger there. Eat me.
Oh my God! Late night menu, Friday and Saturday. Oh my God!
Yeah. But I defy you to find a depiction of a sexy chicken.
So, where are the sexy chickens at?
Yeah, see if you can. There, the sexual politics of meat.
Oh,
yeah, that's
so
her.
This is what she writes. So it's like all sex and meat. Yeah. So living amongst meat eaters, and look at the woman like in this like sort of sexy pose here.
Yeah, but she's surrounded by plants, Joe, and so that makes it okay, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was her, all right, and it was something, man. And I'm not exaggerating this. I've never heard a speech like that in my life. It was in its own way, it was like an ultimate work of art. It was just something beyond comprehension.
Yeah, she made every possible association she could, going from to actually hit every buzzword and every tactic. It was like a tour de force. It was like someone had lined up every single missile they could fire and then fired them one after the other. Bang, 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 bang. And associated everything with everything else. It was someone's idea of putting the world to rights in no uncertain terms. With a view to, even with actually a notion to start some kind of revolution, even in its conception, as to who are you telling this to? And you've got yourself on a platform with Jordan Peterson. It's like this. It's like for them to throw this person in the same room as him, right? That's almost like to just devalue the event. Look at this crackpot they sent. Because there's a part of me that looks at this performance and says, hey, let's send her. Let's ring her up and tell her, and we'll give her a few grand and turn up and give her a few quid so she can buy a new jacket, right? And send this crazy cow up against him and just confound him. And what did it do? It confounded him. So there's a part of me that looks at this and says, yeah, this is the kind of idiot you send to devalue this guy's platform and also confound him as to there's certain levels of crazy that you don't even know about yet, mate. Like this.
I believe we should move beyond all meat. The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief. How do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? 21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism. These events especially affect girls and young women. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny. Popular culture is flooded with references to sexy cows, sexy pigs, sexy chickens, sexy fishes, who all just...
Granted, I'd enjoy this because of its use of neuro-linguistic programming in such a pure way, and it just piling one pile of confounding shit onto the next. Granted, would be he'd love this. Be right up his street.
Just want to have fun. Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Masculinity, a construct of the gender binary facing constant destabilization, feels always under threat, and eating animals is its protection racket. White supremacists weaponized it, eating meat, eggs, and dairy, and the baiting of liberal men as so-called soy boys are all part of the neo-Nazi messaging. To say you care about animals is considered a sign of weakness in a world still committed to the gender binary. Meat eaters, like anti-abortionists, have forgotten that one quality of non-existence is not having awareness about existence. When all else fails, meat eaters assert that animals are not our equals. I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating.
So at the end, she just, on the top of it, throws in the old special revelation. My favourite one of all. That's the best one. It's like, well, you can't argue with me. Why? Because I'm a god. What? Yeah. I'm the god of anti-whiteness. And the only way you'd be able to see this whiteness is if you become like me. What? Yes, you have to see the world like I see it. It's like, oh, that trick. There's an epidemic of whiteness and only I can see it. So therefore only I can detect it. Only therefore I can call it out. It's like the voodoo. She throws in the voodoo at the end, right? The voodoo. Here's the voodoo.
I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating.
You just wouldn't know until you'd stopped eating meat altogether and like thrown all your frozen steaks away and got it out of your system for a year or two, only then would you understand. And then you too could reach this level of anti-white enlightenment and then really understand the evil that you've done to the poor, poor animals and the like. I am a tool of the meat-eating white supremacist patriarchy, and I admit it now. And you know what? Yeah, I'm guilty on I'm guilty on all charges. I mean, what the fuck? So it's like Peterson.
Yeah. Every trope, every politically correct trope you could possibly imagine was magnified beyond its normal range of reference and then applied in this utterly scattershot. It was like she brought every ideological tool in the playbook randomly to this issue.
Imagine if it's all performance art. At the end of the day, she's like, I was just fucking around.
Yeah. Well, then it would be funny and remarkable. Well, that's like Titania McGrath, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
Titania McGrath couldn't have held a candle to her. She would have demolished. Oh, it was no. They weren't even in the same league. No, Titania at least has a facade of reasonableness.
Have you met Andrew?
Yes.
Yeah, he's great too.
He
I've
is.
met him on the
I really
podcast.
like him.
I love him.
Yeah. He's very, very funny.
Great. He's
and
brilliant.
very, very smart.
He's fucking so
and
good.
multi-talented.
That character's so good.
It is. But she's obsolete. She's obsolete. Yeah.
I believe we should move beyond all meat.